Right, good morning, welcome back. Okay, now after a dozen videos to make this belly pan so far and £175 in material costs to get to this point, that's what that has cost to make, 175, but that's because that's the first one. It always costs the most to make the first one because you've got all of the development costs behind you. To make another one now would cost peanuts, and that's the beauty of moulding. Once you've made a viable mould, I can make another one. I don't need to, but I could if I wanted to. Anyway, there we are with all those costs behind me. That's the investment in the bike so far. This isn't quite finished. It's got to be done in primer today. A few little repairs to it first. I want to cut a few of these little bubbles out that are in it, fill them in with some resin so they're absolutely smooth, sand it back, prepare it, and then primer it and leave it on the bike. The idea then is it will get painted with the rest of the bike later on once I've done all of the other physical parts of the project, and there's a lot of it to do. So here we are today. Let's perfect this to a standard where I'm happy to screw it on the bike and move on. Let's do it. Right, to answer the inevitable question, this gel-coated finish has a couple of big imperfections, one right there in the front and one underneath, and normally you would fill them in with gel coat. Wait 24 hours for it to cure and then sand them flat so they're not there at all. If you're leaving it in naked gel coat, that's what you do, but I'm not. It's going to get painted with 2-pack, and I don't want to wait 24 hours for this to cure. There are only imperfections in the surface, so what I'm going to do instead is fill them in with Dolphin Glaze Superfine Filler, which will dry nice and hard in about 15 minutes. I can sand them back and move on. Just makes it quicker to do the job and no difference to the end result. Right, now at this point I considered putting a vent hole in the front of the belly pan here to allow cooling air through, and I think a few of you suggested that too. But on reflection, it doesn't really need it, because if I put the belly pan on, the radiator, it's a liquid cooled engine, is up here. That does all the cooling. There's nothing here taking place to cool the engine whatsoever. And a few of you said, well, it covers the engine up. Not really. You can still get to the exhaust there. There's coolant hoses there. None of them are covered up by the belly pan. It's quite close to this frame, and all that's behind there is this big frame spar. That's all it's protecting. It doesn't really do anything if I put a vent hole in that, except if there was mesh in there, it would end up water spray going through it from the tyre, and the mesh itself would end up a bug trap of sludge and crap all over it, and it would look horrible. So I'm going to step back from that. No vent hole. I don't think it needs it. Let's move on.